Good tidings and divine night. Hope y'all had a excellent day. Let the room fill up for a little bit. Let the energy fill up for a little bit before we start going in. Gonna let it fill up a little bit. And as you come online, go ahead and leave a comment over to the side to let me know you in and you're ready to tune in for this unveiling of the number one gatekeeper in our lives. As you coming on, I want to introduce y'all. I bought a friend today. I call him Gold Dust. I call him Billy Bob Samdi. But then here I'm giving you a skill. Remember, skull equates to skill, raw knowledge. As you coming in, go ahead and drop a comment so I know you in here and you active and you ready to get to this messaging. Got live chat active. We're going to get into what I've been playing in the background for the last now 4 lectures, before lectures into this. I appreciate all the people that tune in, all the people that, if you're not able to get to it because of work, whatever circumstance it is, y'all actually do get to tune in. It's actually more, y'all hit that subscribe button, y'all hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell, that we get notified whenever I'm about to drop down some more knowledge, that way we can keep building our amazing miss. But tonight we are going to be getting into basically the gatekeepers and the sustainers of the illusion. And I've been saying it all week. I was going to tell everybody who the main gatekeeper was. It's not Trump. It's not the Black Boule. It's not, they are gates, but the number one gatekeeper that leaves you linked to all these other gates that keep resonating and hitting you and making you angry. The number one gatekeeper is the person watching this live stream. You. We are the number one gatekeeper. We are the first gatekeeper in our lives. I ain't say the first person to indoctrinate us. I'm talking about the first gatekeeper. You've known yourself for however many years you've cycled around the earth and not even realized that this entire time you've been the gatekeeper to your own, getting to your higher self. Your lower self is the gatekeeper. We don't even realize this most of the time, that the wavelength that we on from brave, like the brain, like we automatically as a people will sit here and the minute we hear something, we go into this judgment based on what we know. Or what we think we know. How deep we've become. Can y'all hear me? Because my thing isn't showing me that I'm talking. I'm getting a little nervous. If you tuned in, drop a comment over here. Give me like a check. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I don't feel like I can be heard right now. They got me a little bit looking a little weird because I don't know if I'm talking or not. All right, cool. Y'all can hear me? There's Raven Thorn. But we don't get into the number one gatekeeper is ourselves. we will constantly keep ourselves in a state of safety. And that's all about that. Whenever I bring up, I've talked about it before, I've talked about it Monday, talking about killing the ego, killing your humanity. That's the number one part, is killing your ego. Thank you for that. We get stuck on what we know, and we're stuck in this 2D reality. Everybody's heard about quantum realities, and we're going to get all of that. Quantum realities, 3D, 5D, and all this. We're stuck in 2D. 2D is when there's good and bad, right and wrong, up and down, happy, sad. Happy equates to either happy or sad, or you anger, or you scared. That's 2D reality. As we step into our higher selves, we have to start encompassing that there is no good and bad. It's positive and negative aspects. What's negative for me can be positive for you, and that's based on your reality, your perception, your thoughts, what you created in your reality. I was watching a video earlier today. My man Red Pill was on there, and he was talking about the recent Tyler Perry did his new studio. What he was getting to was basically how we're gonna start. We're gonna start with the theta waves. We're gonna start with the brain waves. Most of us are walking around here right now scientifically dead. Anything under 40 megahertz is scientifically dead. That's the using 10% of your brain. So we're basically walking around in this state of we're literally the walking dead. Waking up every morning, going to work, doing whatever you do, get up when you get off work, all the way up to some more advanced task, which is hopping on Facebook, having an argument about something, saying you don't like something, calling somebody trash, unneeded shit. Basically, it's like the lower wavelengths, lower stuff to survival, just to get your mind stimulated. I thought about every time when I was in school, they always said the American dream. They still promote it as the American dream, the American dream, the American dream. And then that made me lead all the way to the movies. And when you go into the movie theater, you sitting there, it's a dark room, the lights on you. As y'all coming in, go ahead, drop a comment over there so I know you coming in. The thought process is, yeah, if you look at everything around you, that's how it becomes that dream world. For some of us, we know that this is the dream world. This is the illusion. And when we go into our meditation, we go into our dream state, that's the real world. Based upon the knowledge that we've taken in and how we reprogram our subconscious, is how we're able to control what our subconscious sees. Before you even realize where you at and you want to fight the powers that be, and then you'll go fight the powers that be, fuck white people and fuck them, they don't do nothing for us. Every day we complain about it being hot when they show us every single day that we're in a burning house. But we want them to make it cooler while we're burning in the house. How does that work? Every single day, I see people hop on whatever platform they choose on. Some, I commend the other brothers, the other guys and goddesses that actually display the knowledge and have the understanding and the wisdom to actually debate and actually be able to have conversations back and forth. But most of the times we fall under the wavelength to go try to point someone else out. Oh, that's an agent. Oh, that's this. Oh, that person. This is an agent. Oh, that person right here. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. When they actually, and they do display some type of information or knowledge, but they use fearmonger tactics to keep people away from other pieces of knowledge. Everything that comes into your life is a reflection of an aspect of you that you must work on. So hand in hand, common sense would tell you, you are the number one gatekeeper in your life. The company you keep are reflections of aspects of you. Everybody around you is an aspect of you. Everybody, even the people, even the person that betrayed you is a part of the script. The person that betrayed you, the person that you don't like, they're all part of the plan for you to actually learn from. Everything is a learning experience. Once you kick that into your mind that everything is a learning experience, everything is to be learned from, most of this shit will start vanishing out of your mind. I made a comment one time. I made a comment on a earlier lecture when I was talking about as I was becoming vegan, as I was transitioning to vegan, the first thing that kept popping out to me was like, I knew I couldn't get rid of chicken wings. I couldn't stop eating chicken wings. And then after a while, like I started doing research on, as I doing my research, the things that were popping out to me stopped popping out to me. So on the same street up from my house, before you get to up there, there's a gym, there's the Planet Fitness right there. Before I get from the Planet Fitness, hey Libra, before I get to Planet Fitness, there's a McDonald's right up the street. Now I no longer notice the McDonald's because as I'm going through my day, I don't notice the McDonald's, but the Planet Fitness is in the cut. It's like you have to go up a street and around the corner just to get to it. So in my reflection of what I'm aware of is that McDonald's is still sitting there. Still got the sign 24 hours. But I had to go deeper. I have to go deeper to get to the Planet Fitness. In order for you to break these cycles, you got to go deeper inside yourself and see why it resonates with you in the first place. Just like they'll tell you, people don't break into an empty house. That same thought process goes into people don't break into an empty house. Why would they try so hard, try so hard to keep you down? In reality, they're not keeping you down. You're keeping yourself down by giving them the power to keep you down. You shut yourself down by giving your power to other people. Like I've expounded upon, you entertain your own siphoning. So since we're in this state of emergency all the time, we're in this state of trauma all the time, we're in this state of fear all the time, the other brain waves don't hit. We can't even get above 10% of using our brain, because the 10% of our brain that's being used we're not even using it ourselves. It's on autopilot based on the programming of what they do to us. The moment we get past the emotionalism, because a lot of people out here wearing spirituality as a badge instead of actually learning from it. The minute we stop with the emotionalism and being so emotional, you will understand how to become a god. The moment that you say that you're a god and you're a goddess and you're a king and a queen, or whatever aspect of life that you take, occultist, alchemist, witch, crystal sage, shaman, whatever you take, you must embody everything in that. A dog can never be a human because it's always going to think like a dog. We're sitting here getting upset when we see something on television such as this white woman getting off for killing somebody, when for decades now, that's who they are. They're part of the script. It's already been written. How do you change the script? By tapping into you. Who wrote the script? Who wrote the script? We did. Our ancestors. You can't get stuck on more science. It's deeper than that. You can't get stuck in the comedic. It's deeper than that. I hear the debates back and forth about these two mostly. Hebrew Israelites, there's the other ones. But what about the Etruscans? What about the Phoenicians? What about the Irish? Me and my man was building last night actually. What about the Irish? What about the Scottish? What about all of them mythos and things? What about India? What about the Indians? What about the indigenous ones of this land? What about the Congo rights? We're stuck on this one line of knowledge. So now we're the gates. That's why we are the number one gatekeeper in our lives, and everything else is a reflection of it. You can build a pretty fence. That's why they sell you the American dream. Once again, that's the American dream kicking in. I want the white picket fence. They say the white picket fence, the 2.5 children. I think the 0.5 was a dog. That perfect life. They want to create the perfect life. But if it's not your life, how can I create a perfect life if that's not my life to create? Most of us sit in a protesting, oppressive, outraged, repressed mindset. That's the acronym for poor. We stay in a mindset that we depend so heavy on things outside of us because we've been taught for so long to everything outside of us. Everything outside of us has more value than what's inside of us. That we've literally shut down every part of us that makes us the power base. And then we give credit to somebody outside of us. Even if we do something well, we wait for the validation of somebody else telling us that we did good, that we look good, that we spoke good, that we spoke so eloquently. The only validation that you need first is yours. Self-validation, self-love. Once you master self-love, once you master being able to critique yourself on a healthy level to where you don't get emotional and allow something to distract you from actually working on it. Once we start doing those things, then you can get into the real spiritual work. Most of us have already done it. Some of us haven't. That's where we get stuck at. Most of us are the smartest people. What we have a lot of the times now is the smartest dumb person in their group. And they'll keep everybody else dumb around them, dumbfounded, stupid, don't want to talk, don't want to expound upon anything more because they lose that superiority. The miseducation of our minds is ever since you were little, you were told to strive to be the best. Competition is healthy. Strive to be the best. So ever since you were younger, everything has been displayed against your natural system. So you're taught one thing, you're given one set of repetitions and another set of repetitions, and then that made us. That makes you. That's why every time we see struggle or somebody else struggling or somebody else in pain and being hurt, our caring or our ego won't allow us to allow someone else to go through that pain. We identify with them. That's why we stay so long when we know we should leave. That's why we continue to help when we know we should stop, because it's a crutch. We're actually enabling them. We need to disable and break that cord. That's the first step. Those are some of the first steps in order for us to get into our higher selves. Caring is of the mind. Compassion is of the heart. Caring is of the mind. Compassion is of the heart. That's why you say you don't care. I don't think I care. Compassion is naturally inherent within us as a people. Compassion. We feel things. We have an outstanding love for everybody. But since we've been traumatized to set everything backwards. When you look at the chakra system, if you look at our chakra system from the root to our third eye, that's that gateway from heaven to hell is a part of us. The lower three chakras, that's you walking through hell, the negative aspects of yourself, the things that you need to do to survive as a human or a beast, as they would call you. They repeatedly keep calling you a beast. As you keep going deeper and deeper, you understand how these trigger words that they use to activate that trauma back in you. Oh, I'm a beast. Oh, I'm a beast. I'm a beast. I'm a bitch. I'm a bad bitch. Then you listen to the rhythmic tones. You listen to the music. And it's like, I'm a bad bitch. I'm a real nigga. You hear this over and over and over again playing in your mind. That goes into your subconscious thought process because you don't use your alpha wavelength, which is the second highest. It goes into your theta, your inner ear. So you'll be sitting there listening to something, and even if you don't like the song, that shit's stuck in your head. And the moment you start singing it, it got you. Because it doesn't matter what you think in your forethoughts, it's what happened in your subconscious. Our subconscious downloads and keeps a record of everything as being real. It keeps a record of everything being real. Everything is true. It doesn't discern between the two. Your ego then defends anything that's against what your subconscious already knows. It holds that and it defends against this. So cognitive dissonance kicks in when you hear somebody, whether they're talking about whatever religion is not our religion, when the reason that can be said, that's the biggest thing. The reason a lot of these things can be said on a lot of these platforms with like no rebuttal, there's no one taking them down. They'll say, man, they took down my video. They never take down these videos that you see because you still got it. The reason that it can be said is because it goes against, it causes a distraction. It's the way that they're promoting it. They already say niggas can't have conversation. We can't have conversation because we're too emotional. So we'll sit there and argue back and forth over some points. The point to be missed because it's stuck in the trauma of the argument. When you hear a loud noise, you automatically cover your ear. When you're a baby, when you were a child, you heard a loud noise, you covered your ears. Since we're stuck in a childlike mind state, guess what your ego is? Your ego is the child covering your ears. The ego is the covering your ears. So you don't hear. So you can't grow. We're taught over and over and over again that you're a child of something. Children grow up. To be what? never grow up. Can they have you in a childlike mind state? Then you start understanding the programming, everything outside of you is based on your ego. So you gravitate towards that. So I want to be a big kid. There's nothing wrong with being a kid. There's nothing wrong with being a little immature at times. There's no good or bad. There's positive and negative aspects to everything. When it comes to immaturity, it's more like between maturity and immaturity. Immaturity is to mean you haven't grown into something. You haven't grown, or you don't possess the knowledge or the experience for that certain subject. So there's nothing wrong with being immature. There's still a lot of knowledge that I am still immature with. There's still things that I'm still gonna laugh at. That's why I can look at that's why we look at certain videos, we still laugh, and those are my stories. Because I'm growing in experience of what not to do, what not to say, what doesn't make sense, what doesn't get my point across. Some of us are still stuck in that paradigm, still trying to fit everybody that was in the box with us before. We're trying to take them with us to where we're going. Your path is your path. Where you're going, only you can go because it's your path. Yes, we may have we might have moments of parallel. We all collectively on the same wavelength, but your path is different than mine. My path is different than yours. All the paths aren't the same. They all go to the same place. We're all going to the same place. That's why all the knowledge, that's why we can go back and forth on them wavelengths, but we're all going at different spaces. What stifles you is when you're not expounding upon knowledge yourself. We get stuck in this religious part, and we've made spirituality a lot of people made spirituality a new religion. And that might be good for them. They may need to be in that space. That helps them do whatever they need to do on the smaller scale. But on the larger scale, as you're coming into your God and goddess energy, as you're coming into that Titan energy, that alpha, that the ultimate energy, getting back to yourself, that's not going to cut it. Because now you'll be stuck on that. You can get stuck in a space. You can be a Black Panther activist your entire life. Cool. You can do a million things for your community. That's great. You can do all those things. But all you've actually done is for the next generation of the oppressor is gave them the blueprints to give to their children. As long as your mind is in a poor mentality, nothing's going to come to you. Most of us get stuck in this influx of thought process of people are going to think I'm crazy. The definition of insanity is, or one of the definitions that I came across is to repeat a task over a repeated amount of times, expecting a different result. So how long are you going to repeat the same things and expect a different result based on your perception? That's your ego. Your subconscious records, yes, change is inevitable, and change is inevitable, evolution is a choice. But your ego is still on another idea about that until you repeat it enough to yourself. Your ego is your lower self. That's the human aspects of you. That's the things that were indoctrinated and you were brought into. You were taught right from wrong, hot and cold, red, blue, purple, pink. You were taught your colors. Your ego now registers all of those things. So anything outside of those, it goes against. It's natural. So within you is two gates. Within you is two gates. The gate, which is your ego, and then it's the gate that gets to your subconscious or to your pineal gland. That's where God dwells. That's where God dwells. That's where you dwell. That's where you create, put together your works. But you have to do that as in stimulating and reprogramming subconscious thinking. One of the most simplest things to do as you're coming into consciousness with yourself is at first absorbing everything. That's bizarre. Absorb everything that seems bizarre. Absorb everything that seems outlandish. Absorb everything. Absorb everything. After you do this for about 30 days, you reprogram your subconscious and reset your ego to start accepting everything is normal. So now the bizarre becomes normal. Now you have a barometer. Now you can go back and now you can start doing your research. It all starts in the mind. Till we reprogram our mind, nothing else is going to work. I don't care how many magic books you grab, how many tarot cards you try to read. I don't care how many things you try to read and you pick apart and you try to go upon. I don't care what you try to do. It won't work until you put in the work to change your mentality. There's no living in two houses. You can't live in the world you can't live in the material realm and live in the spiritual realm. You can't live in both realms. You either live in your higher and project yourself down, or you exist in the physical realm and the spiritual realm is still part of the dream world. Another methodology that I've asked, like we do that all the time, didn't even realize it. You remember when you were little and your mom, whenever she got on the phone, she had the white people voice. She would talk very, very eloquent. She would talk to you, use very big words. She would sound very polite, very docile. She was becoming the ideal. What she was actually doing unconsciously was becoming the ideal for whomever she was talking to. She became the ideal. Right now, when you look at the media all day, Spaceman in the building, all day, you look in the media, they show you as a savage. You'll get upset. They show you as a savage. Why you get upset for it? That means something inside you feel like you want to be a savage or you're a monster because you've been programmed to think you were something less than what you actually are. You've been compartmentalized into one space of yourself to think of something that you actually are. Every single day, we'll sit here literally. I made that post yesterday. Every day, we'll sit here literally and we'll call somebody a bitch. We'll call each other bitches, niggas, hoes, all these lower detrimental words. But the minute I start calling people, what's up, God, Divine Rise, Goddess, you get those weird looks. Ugh. Nigga, you on that spiritual shit. Dude, man, ain't no one got time for that. What they're explaining to you is a learning experience. Don't get mad. Don't get upset. Don't let your confidence drop. Remember, you're a God. You're at the top of the top. You're a God. That's your energy. Claim it. Love it. Live in it. A God never feels unconfident. The reason that it resonates with you is because we're not operating off confidence. We operate every single day off of defense or arrogance. Arrogance has to be constantly defended in order to survive. Anything that you come into your life, the way that you come into it, you must continue doing it in that motion in order to continue getting that energy from it. How things end or how things begin or how things end. And what that means is usually how something begins is not done in the ending and then it ends itself. Right now, we're in a state, when you look at the media right now, you look in TV right now, CNN, you see Trump, you see all these travesties happening in all these governments. They're losing control. They're losing control. Similar to someone, I put a post out there. Someone put a post that was like, what happens when you are broke and you start losing money? You start doing the most extreme shit to survive. The government made marijuana legal. That shows you how broke your government is. Instead, we want to be mad and we're going to get distracted because of like, they'll show us a picture. Someone will put a post up and everybody will chime in on that post and they don't get taken down because they'll be like, so my child has to rot in jail for doing the same thing now our government is doing. Why are you upset? They're showing you that it's a burning house. You in the burning house. Quit complaining that it's hot. You in the burning house and the door wide open. You got two decisions. Stop yourself from walking out or walk out and get some fresh air. Stop yourself from walking out or walk out and get fresh air. You stuck in a cage with a door open. There ain't no door in the cage. You stuck in a space based on your own thoughts and the knowledge that you have for yourself. If you had a job that you don't like, master the job. Absorb every bit of knowledge and information you can get from that job, from that space. That way, you can use that to become more self-sufficient. Or you're going to be sitting there around like-minded individuals in that vibration that all hate the job, but they all come to work. So since they hate the job so much, they go out the night before and they party to relax, and then they come to work fucked up, and then they get fired. You don't get fired, you fire yourself, then they get fired. Then, man, fuck that place. I ain't want that place anyway. But then you'll see them keep coming around the same areas where you keep going. Man, how the job is, man. Yo, fuck that job. Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm out here hustling, trying to get myself together. So they feed you they feed you something to make you think they care. Compassion comes from love, and true love and understanding breaks away from any paradigm. That's the positive and the negative aspects again. It breaks away from that paradigm and that thought process of I'm in this to learn. I'm in this to learn. The minute that you set your mindset on I need money to do this, you're now stuck in the realm of money. So now you're behind the bars of that $5 bill, sitting back there looking like Lincoln and petrified because you can't step outside the bars. You become petrified because you don't want to step outside the bars. Because outside of those bars, you don't know what's out there. If you're in the mindset that you feel like you need someone to take care of you, you become petrified at being by yourself. So you don't study and you don't give yourself self-validation. You don't understand your self-love. So then there's a flux inside of you. Now you battling yourself and you're in constant conflict. I want this and I want this. So the reflections of what you're not working on inside of yourself, since inside of you, you feel broken in a certain space, that's where jealousy comes from. Your jealousy is a predeceived emotion that's only within a person. A person cannot make you jealous. Because the definition of jealousy is the definition of jealousy, and I'm paraphrasing it. The definition of jealousy goes as you are in envy or envious of something that someone else has or you have not obtained. So the reflection is when you see this white supremacy, as they call it, the white power, the white hate, as they call these things, as you see these things and it stimulates something in you and you get emotional, we already know the definition of racism. We already know the definition of fear goes into something that is not understood. That's where the hatred comes from. So when that thought process, when the hatred comes from, resonating with you, they have a lack of understanding of us. The ones that are in front of you that reflect at that lower level, of course, yeah, they have a misunderstanding of you because you are reflecting because you have a misunderstanding of them. We've been taught for a long time we've been humans. We've never been human. We do extraordinary shit all the time. From the dude that scaled the side of that building to our football players and our basketball players, entertainers, regular people doing miraculous shit. We ain't been human for a long time. But since it's stuck in your mind that you're human and treating everybody the same, why don't they understand me? Why don't you understand yourself? That's the question you should ask. What about me do they hate so much? And then you hear someone talk about, is it the color of my skin that scares you? Can we bleed the same blood? Their blood's acidic as fuck. By nature, by the script, their blood is not your blood. Our blood bleeds from black to purple to red when it hits the light. That's why when you get a cut on your hand and it starts to cauterize, it cauterizes as black because that's your blood. It's genetics. They spend years and years and years and years and years with our information, with our ancient knowledge, and then they present it to you, and they present it to you as a theory, quantum theory, the chaos theory, the theory of relativity. All these different sciences, they give you all these different theories. There's one quotient missing to all of the theories. All that one quotient to all of those theories is the same number one gatekeeper. You, me. We are the missing quotient in that formula to make it so that formula can operate and stabilize itself and take it to the higher self. So we get stuck. I'm gonna break down the brain waves. I wrote down the 5 brain waves earlier. I'm gonna give the definition in the megahertz, and now I'm gonna give you an example of each and how they all go together because everything is everything. The first wave, brain wave, is our beta waves. Beta waves go from 14 to 30 hertz, 13 megahertz. Typically, it dominates our walking state of consciousness and occurs when attention is directed towards cognitive and other tasks. When you're awake, you're alert, and you're conscious. Basic. The second one is the alpha wave. Physically and mentally relaxed, awake, but still drowsy. So you're walking around, you still sleep, you're moving. That's what they meant by keep the body strong, keep the body, kill the mind. They keep us in a, and then they program into your head, be an alpha, be an alpha, be an alpha. You got to understand when we speak these certain connotations and we speak these spells, that's what all it is science is unlocking something in our mind to keep us in that state. So most of us are in our masculine form, and we're going to have that alpha mindset, that alpha mentality. They say, dare to be an alpha, you got to be on top. So if that's programmed into my mind, and I'm supposed to be understanding that aspects of the feminine energy, and that's put into our queen's minds, and they're supposed to be understanding the masculine form of energy. For us as men, for us as kings, when that energy hits into us and we're taught to be alphas, we start to be alphas. We don't have any guidance. We have all the knowledge in the world, but we don't have any guidance. Because the guidance is a feminine aspect that goes along with the nurturing. That's why they say you teach a man, you teach a boy, you raise a man. But if you teach a woman, you raise a nation. And truly goes together. Similar to like when you look into the elements. Fire, earth, water, wind. Fire, earth, water, wind, water. Yeah, I said that right. Fire, earth, water. Fire, earth, water, wind, air. I was missing air. When you look into that, and then you look at how these the symbol for the sigil for each one of these elements, and you put them together as higher and lower self. And then the key aspect when you go into that higher self, that's when you understand the masculine and the feminine energies. And then it makes the Star of David, or it makes the 5-point star. They put a circle around, and I already broke that down. Like whenever you put a circle around something, it unlocks it, or it encompasses that energy. So they put a circle around, like whenever you put a circle, when they put a circle on the wrong answer on your test, that's the one you needed to study. But we don't use our critical thinking. Anything with a circle around it, I might want to look at it. Thus a bullseye. The ancient priests used to put things like skulls. Used to put skulls on shit. They used to put the most, if you remember the image when y'all came in, linked onto this lecture, they put the goat head, they'll put Baphomet, they'll put one of these symbols on there that would ward off, they say it would ward off evil spirits, or would ward off, basically it was just warding off the ones that did not understand it, warding off demons. So we listen to the program and they tell you warding off demons, they say demons are bad, then they got in your mindset bad and good instead of positive and negative. So if you don't understand, Libra Sun, check that out on the last lecture when I said demon comes from the Latin word Damien, which means intelligence. So basically what they're saying is the priest put that up there for people that didn't have the intelligence to understand it. We'll sit here every single day and won't read something because it's scary. We won't read something that got a skull and crossbones on the front of it, even though it's just your alchemical science. But you'll go put on an Ed Hardy shirt. I had a lady one time, I was on the way on my out and about during the day, and she saw my bracelet that has my skulls. Remember how I broke down skulls equate to skill. So whenever you see a picture holding a skull out to you, whenever you see a picture holding out a skull to you, I'll hold the skull so we can have that illustration. Whenever you see a picture holding out a skull to you, it's giving you a skill that you must conquer. because we have to understand that through the trauma is what creates the illusion and creates the trigger. So if I show you this and I've told you that it was bad your entire life, the moment that you see it, you stay away from anything, even subconsciously in your mind that was linked into your mind, to stay away from it. That is evil, that is bad. And then when the moment that someone actually gives you this type of key, they give you that key, that skill to look at, they try to make it like it's benevolent, like it doesn't really do anything. Because they're never going to give you anything. Nothing outside of you is going to give you anything that you truly need. Nothing outside of you is going to give you any value of what you truly need, which is yourself. Nothing outside of you is going to do that. Everything that you put into, even when it comes to stones and crystals and amulets and whatever it may be, they don't have the power in them necessarily. What they have is when you look at the description of it, you empower by using that as a visual aid. Similar to someone to say, they say rose quartz equates to love. Say rose quartz is love, abundance, peace, and cleansing. So if that's in my mindset and I stare at that stone long enough and I hold that stone and I understand the properties and I hold that stone and that's programmed into my mind and I start taking my mind there and I meditate holding that rose quartz. So I've cleared my mind and now I'm concentrating on love, or I'm clearing that rose quartz, or I'm clearing, this is petrified wood. It's an ancestral stone. And if I hold this stone and I'm concentrating on talking to the ancestors and I'm remembering my ancestors, the closest ancestors to me was my grandmother or my father or uncle or loved one that's already passed. And then I link into them. That's how you gain that channel into that access. The reading part is the first part. The application is the second part. Then there's the sharing. What we get stuck on and what you see happening in our community every day and based on our reality, based on the paradigm of where our minds are at, we see knowledge, research, and sharing. We see little to no applying. So if I haven't applied it and you haven't applied it, all we can argue back and forth on are the points in the knowledge. And then we shut off. And then we still dreaming. And we never reach above 40 megahertz. The body is scientifically dead. Remember I said that? The body is scientifically dead. On anything under 40 megahertz, it's sleep. You're in a state of sleep. That's why they give you some scary shit or some shit that's going to hit you emotionally. It's going to put you into that state of simply being outraged. So you're in your alpha mindset. So you're physically and you're mentally trying to relax yourself from it. And you get locked into that space. And then they can just keep heating your theta waves. Our theta waves are present during deep meditation and light sleep, including all important REM dream states. And this realm is your subconscious. During deep meditation and light sleep. So if I understand your brain, and they broke that down in Django, they led you to that. They always put it in the movies. When they took Django and Leonardo DiCaprio, Mr. Candy, at the Candyland plantation, when they had him on there and he busted the back of the skull, he was talking about the back of the head, you see two dimples. You see the little three dimples, and this equates to their, He broke it down to you. that within your mind is everything. But we looking at, oh my God, Mr. Candy, and Django burnt down the whole house. Even at the end of that movie, when he burnt down the whole plantation, that symbolized to us that's what we need to do. But since we're stuck in a dreamlike state, when you're in that sleep-like state, it doesn't register in your brain because now we're equating, because we don't equate time. We're stuck in that continuum of time. They tell us about time all the time, like, oh, it's time. It's time. You never have enough time. Everybody got the same 24 hours. Everybody got the same, say, 7 days. Everybody got the same thing. Everybody is everybody. Everybody's everybody. So now your ego defends anything that doesn't fall in the timeline. Ain't no such thing as time. All there is alignment. So since there's no such thing as time, there could be no such thing as coincidence. Because coincidence is based on, oh, that happened in that certain amount of time. Once you break away from that parallel of time, the concept of death, because it's simply, death actually is, reached a perfect state and then it died. So when we look into the news, they talked about Nipsey Hussle died before his time and all these things. What his mom was trying to tell you was he did what he was supposed to do. That's why his time was up. Just like most of us are in certain situations, you did what you were supposed to do in that relationship. It's dead and over with. But we get so emotional and holding on to things, even if we're angry at somebody. Even when you're angry at somebody, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because you're angry at somebody, they have power over you. So now they know the trigger is them saying anything to you. Anybody around you can use that trigger of using that person's name. Just saying that person's name is going to make you angry. It's going to take you into that state of anger. And you start thinking about everything that this person does. And you're just going to keep replaying it in your subconscious. And you're all of a sudden now you're thinking like, all these niggas ain't shit because I keep meeting the same nigga. All these bitches ain't shit because I keep meeting the same bitches. Because you keep meeting the same people in your life because you haven't reprogrammed your mind to think about yourself. I can give the example of, I looked at my old self. Most of us, we looked at our old selves before you came into consciousness, or you came into awareness of yourself. Half of the things you did even 4 or 5 years, even 2 years ago, you probably won't even do right now. And that goes under the same stream of knowledge is infinite. There's things that you think about back when you were 5 and 6 years old that don't even resonate anymore with you now. As you come older through the indoctrination, the whole key of this aspect, what we're supposed to be doing right now, is learning to relearn. That's how you gain your barometer. The way that you came into consciousness, wherever you stepped away from, that's what you need to study first. A lot of people were like, fuck the Bible. Okay, cool. Then you'll hear somebody talk about the reason it resonates inside your mind and you're still upset about something is because you're holding on to the hatred of it. You're still giving it your power by acknowledging it. To break the chain, stop acknowledging it. To disintegrate the chain, decode and decipher it. Learn how to manipulate the spells by learning the spell. How does it last? How is it still lasting at this point in time? Like this is like Columbus Day. I think it's like Missouri, Arkansas. One of these states just recently changed Columbus Day to Indigenous People Day. And then they showed that on TV. Even them showing that image on TV is like, see, there are some good ones. Because they showed I think the mayor, the governor, whoever it was, a white lady. So automatically in your mind, you're like, see, there are some good ones. Muhammad Ali said that during an interview. If there was a million rattlesnakes coming down this hall, coming down this road right now, but it was 1,000 good rattlesnakes in there, and I knew they were good, would they create a wall to keep out all the bad rattlesnakes? In your life right now, there's people in your life right now, I can guarantee it's people in your life right now, that no matter what you do, No matter what you do, they stay the same. Because you care about them. No matter what you do, they continuously do the same thing because you care about them. So your ego won't let them go. And since you care so much, how do you get past the dream world? That's a good question. That's a good question. Matter of fact, if you are having any questions, let's write them up in the comments. That's actually an easy one. That actually goes into this part where we're going into now. How to get past the dream world. I'm just joking with you, Tamron. You put pasta. We knew what it meant. When you go to sleep and you have your dreams, that's the real world. Our ancestors understood that the spirit world was once the real world, and the physical world was the illusion. The physical world is still the illusion, and the dream world is the real world. When you look, I forgot his book. I'm not putting the book. I'm putting together the book list because I keep forgetting the books and forgetting the authors of the books. But when you look into any book, I think it's called The Jail Planet. Do not quote me on that. I will look it up and get it to you guys. But it tells you Earth is the prison planet. Similar to if you look at Chronicles of Riddick. Exactly. Physical was the dream room. So everything switched. But the reason that it switched was that's why they can't explain the pyramids, because we did that with our psyche. We did that within the spirit when we were still in tune to our spiritual work, to our spiritual presence. When we were still in the spiritual world, when we were still in our God, when we were still in that God room, we were hovering in that room. Everything that we did was based off of higher thought. It was based off of the higher knowing. We had a confidence. There was nothing around us that was keeping us shelled in. So our mind could absorb all knowledge and all information at those times. As we were coming into the sleep realm, as we were going into sleep, that's when we encapsulated into these bodies. The only reason that we came down is to understand all of this from this perspective in order to come back up into our higher selves. That's why you look at every creation story, you look at any creation story, whether it's in the Hindu, Buddhist, whatever religion or sect, whatever they use, they all have the same creation story because it's all grafted from the same origin. That's all the same shit. The only thing that they did is they took pieces and fragments that fit what they were trying to do in their space. That's what the priests did. Like when you look at all the Gnostic priests and all these different sects, when they talk about all the the children of Abraham, all that, or you look at the 99 attributes of Allah, all of these were different. All these are the same principles. But each set of priests went around sending out the messages to each space based on that sect, based on those people in that area. Because as we dispersed and came down to this realm, everybody was in a different paradigm of thought process. But it all leads back to one thing. So getting the first thing with the dream room, when you go to sleep, that's the dream room. That's what I was actually getting into. Spaceman put me back on point. Appreciate that. So when you start learning the mantras and start going through your meditations, when you get into your meditation, you start clearing your mind, you start concentrating on one point. Frank Rudolph has a a ton of books on that. From Psychiatry is the latest book I've been actually reading. That's when I'm gonna break down the methodology of becoming the ideal. He was actually one of the first metaphysical teachers of that time. What he did was he was teaching teaching Abraham Lincoln, and he was teaching the presidents how to master their energy, because alchemy is the highest form of science. So to get to, in our physical form, actual SEX, or the sacred energy exchange, remember, all energy is sacred. You're having sex every time you touch somebody, kid, you exchanging energy. Therefore, you exchange energy every time you touch somebody. So if you don't have a value in yourself, that's how that plays out. Someone can rub up against you, someone rubbed you the wrong way, they literally and spiritually and mentally rubbed you the wrong way, because they reset you. Now you feeling negative because they rubbed into you. You're not negative because they rubbed into you. They rubbed negative energy into you. See how that works? But going into the dream realm, the first thing you will encounter, most people encounter when they go into their first meditative state, or they go in any altered state, they're going to start seeing some scary shit. They'll start seeing skulls and demons and clowns, stuff you're scared of. The reason that you are seeing these things, because each one of these things equate to a certain thing, a certain feeling, which is inside you, which is actually your insecurity. Insecurity is deeper than just, I don't like the way somebody said something to me when I was 3 about me being fat, and I battled with being fat my entire life. The insecurities are what make, amongst the other triggers, we'll get into that. That would be that's the first trigger. Insecurities destroy your confidence, and will have you over exemplifying or becoming arrogant in the things that you can control. But you can control everything, but the ones that you can control in the most physical sense. So I don't care how many times you beat your face, put the makeup on, eyelashes, you just put on a mask. You put on your dream look. This is how I want to be seen in the physical realm. But at the end of the day, you'll have a dream about clowns, and that equates because they connect. Because like, you keep seeing clowns and they're scary, and you keep seeing clowns and they're laughing, and they're always laughing. Ha ha ha! They're laughing at you in your dream, because subconsciously, the reason that you put on all the makeup is so people don't laugh at you. So your subconscious, remember, everything goes in backwards and it records it as literal. So your subconscious now shows you clowns. So you got to get through your insecurity. You're not really scared of the clowns per se. Some people are actually scared of clowns. You're not scared of clowns per se, but that's an aspect that you have to unlock to get deeper into your subconscious. So as you get through each one of your insecurities or your fears of yourself, that's how you get deeper into your dream world. That's what I told you about. Take about 30 days to absorb everything that's fucking bizarre and crazy as hell, that looks bizarre as fuck to you. Start absorbing all of that into yourself. And then you reprogram your mind to actually take in more information, no matter what it came from, whatever source it came from. That way you can have a deeper understanding, and your dreams will change. That's what lucid dreaming is. One of the key elements to doing for that, like as you get deeper into your brain waves and start understanding your brain, and you start reprogramming yourself, you reset the motherboard, basically. You reset the motherboard inside your brain. Reset it. So now repetition has to come in order. So now you must continuously fill your mind with the knowledge itself, with the things that equate to you. The biggest key secret to it, everything equates to us. Everything from the Greeks, which is actually just the Phoenician, the original Greeks were the Phoenicians, Us. The original Romans were the Etruscans. Us. The Irish, that's why they call them the black people of Ireland. The Scottish, that was us. You want to sit there and celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Because they said St. Patrick got rid of a bunch of snakes. The reality of it, baseline of it, what he got rid of were the Druids, were some of the first people that the Moors taught in that area when they were taught something about our science. So this was during the time where they were trying to make Christianity, was Catholic, you're Christian regardless. Trying to make religion the new face, they had to get rid of those people. And then it goes even deeper because the people that taught them were the Twa people, or the little small people, and then they showed them with distorted faces and put hats on them and made them play dress up, and they made them look like leprechauns. So now your mind doesn't discern, so our mind sees something as real. So if I see a leprechaun and I show you a picture of a Twa person on a stone tablet and they dressed and they look like leprechauns, your subconscious is now locked on to, oh, they're leprechauns. So it's not real. Our minds automatically take things in, and based on the knowledge that's inside of your mind, it will create it, whether it's bad or good, up or down, the left or right. That's how our mind creates it. So then it creates that subconscious space. So when it's having that conversation with us, it'll show us something that is scary, but it's not really scary. It's an attribute of yourself that you need to tap into. Meditation clears the mind. Meditation and concentration are two different things. Meditation clears the mind and clears the space so you can concentrate on key factors and points in your life. So you can get in tune. Meditation clears your mind so you can set a point of, why am I getting upset? Why am I mad all the time? Why do I have such a deep anger? Why am I always seem like I'm depressed? Why can't I get past always being sad for something? The things that you're holding on to, emotions aren't bad. Even us now as young men, we came from the era of like, men are not supposed to cry. We're not supposed to show our emotions. We're not supposed to be in tune with our feminine side. So since your mind only goes one way, since we're taught of two, we're given a paradigm of two extremes, either bad or good. Ain't no fucking in between. That's why they can't program into your head a sin is a sin no matter what. Bad or good. So if I can't make it up to be a man, if I'm not good enough to be a man, I guess I'm a woman. That's one basis. So that traumatic event inside your head, you can't cut it enough. So you're not cutting it. So I need to get attention from some way. There's men walking around right now, despise women, but are not gay. Because that's the basis of a thought process of that Eurocentric thinking. And all Eurocentric thinking is your shit in reverse. So in order to reprogram your mind on the base level, after you start absorbing all that bizarre shit, bad is good. This is how you break the morality. This is how you start understanding the chains of these alchemical locks. Because it's all alchemical. Everything is chemical warfare. Because that's the physical part. Your alchemical body, that's all physical. That's the chemical system. That's why they can put so many things into your food and you don't even know what the hell it is. That's why they put it in the food. They put it in the food, then they give you the pill, because the pill is the key to unlocking and triggering what's inside the food. That's food for thought. Therefore, the information that you take in a textbook, if I give you this textbook from 5th grade all the way up to 12th grade, and then you go to school and you go pay for it, and I give you some more information, and it's all against that same line, anything outside of that is poison to you. You are the poison. Your power is the antidote and the poison. Your power is the antidote and the poison. Your self-worth is your antidote. Your knowledge of yourself and learning yourself, that's the antidote to the poison. Your power is their signature. Your power is the signature to make everything okay. They give you a little bit of power at your job. I love my job, man. They don't do nothing bad with me. That's your signature for everything. Remember, in encompassing all and understanding all and coming into that mindset, you must accept everything that comes into that space, everything that comes with that space. So if you know you're in a space where you go over to, if you go over to a friend's house and you don't want to be there that long, or you go to a venue or a space and you don't want to be there that long, but you know what that space, there's going to be drinking, there's going to be music, there's going to be everything that's going to distract you from what you really want to get to. You're just doing it just to do it. The minute that you walked in, you signed yourself on the line. I don't care. And whether you hate it or you love it, you gave it your power. Things only exist to you. That's why when you have the thought process, people like things exist. Only in that illusionary rate. So if I sit here and tell you if I sat here for 9 straight days, like 21 days, it takes 21 days to form a habit, to break a habit, and it takes 90 days to form a behavior. It takes 21 days to break a habit and 90 days to break a behavior. And when you look at that into the timeline, if you have a week worth of dreams, you have a week of dreams, and they all lead to one thing based on a concept in your mindset. When you set intentions, and that's what it comes into setting intentions. You set intentions in your subconscious. And everything that needs to be discerned is going to come to you in your dream. So you create your reality literally based on your thought process and your knowledge. So if I sit here and I'm constantly looking at the news, I'm seeing my brothers and sisters dying on TV or being wrongly injustice, in my mind, that state of trauma that I'm in, why they keep doing that? Someone would say because they're evil. Someone would say because all these things. No, why are they doing that? Why would they kill us off by the thousands? Why are they killing us off so much? Basic science, you go down to the sciences, you understand like, damn, melanin is $353 a gram, $353 a gram, last time I checked. I can do things that they can't do last time that I checked. They have things they gotta feed. They're feeding you fear. Because we're still in the aspect, because until you come from under the aspect of death, that's that main aspect to you, until you come into out of that aspect of death, being nothing more than a transitionary space, they can continuously show you on TV. Every time something happens on TV to somebody that dies, yes, I have compassion for it, but the ultimate thing for me is to understand why they're doing it in the first place. Because until something's understood, it repeats itself. That's why life is a spiral effect. You keep going around and around in this circle until you understand more, or you gain the access to the knowledge and break down that barrier, or open up that gate to go to the next level. So that's why you have people around. That's why the people around you are the reflections of the number one gatekeeper. Because something inside of you doesn't want to let go. Something inside of you don't want to let go of. You want to take it with you. You want to make it fit. You want to take that puzzle piece that goes to the corner of the puzzle for the outside. You want to try to put it in the middle. It doesn't fit there. That's that conflict inside yourself. So that's that conflict, and then you'll have a dream. This is how the dream works. When you go into the dream world, you're still stuck at the first gate of the dream world, and it's still showing you some gruesome shit or some shit that don't make no sense. And then you wake up in the real world, now understanding that once you get past these gates in the dream world, in the dream realm, as you go forward, and once you go through these gates, as you get closer and closer to the core of yourself, you're able to manipulate what you see. You're able to lucid dream. You're able to look into your dreams on the aspect of being able to, from anything from small minuscule things like remembering remembering test answers for the night before, from the night before to the next day, to understanding, actually looking back into yourself, looking at past lives. Astral projection, that's where astral projection comes from. You become more conscious. They're not afraid of you being aware. They're not afraid of you gaining the knowledge. They're afraid of you applying the knowledge. And that goes into becoming the ideal. The methodology of submitting is to become the ideal of the person that is in front of you, whoever it may be. We do it unconsciously, so we don't learn anything. So we act on emotion. We are in our alpha mind state instead of learning how to do it and activating in our theta mind state. Because your astral body goes into the theta mind. Your astral body is now linked to the theta waves that are within you in your brain. And now you're able to absorb the information that you need to absorb in order to learn. That's how learning is done. So you start reprogramming. Now your subconscious is reprogramming itself. Outside of you, you still look like the ideal of what is acceptable to them. But behind the scenes, you're able to move around with no problems or issues. So when they twisted up the definition of submission, and then they give us the thought process, oh, submission means this, submission, and then they tell you to be docile, then they say the meek shall inherit the earth, and they say these things like this. They want you to stay in a docile, dreamlike mindset. As long as I don't fight back, nothing's going to happen. It isn't about fighting back. It's about learning the tactics that are natural to you to combat what's coming to you. It's not about blocking your anger. It's about understanding your anger and the aspects of what's making me angry, what triggers my anger. Once you start understanding these aspects, you're not going to get angry anymore because you have deeper aspects of understanding it. Anything below you can only pull you down. So if somebody uses anger to combat you and you remain calm, since all they understand is their anger and you remaining calm, it makes them more angry. It's the same difference what's going on right now in the world. The more you sit there and show you're emotionally invested into it, that emotional, egotistical humanity, and you show that you care about that subject to that small accord, they can keep repeating it. Because outside of you in this realm, all they can do is repeat. All you see is repeats. Everything repeats itself here. That's that 2D. It only can go 1 to 2 spaces. It's in the 2D. This is the 2D realm. It only goes from here to here, from bad to worse, from good to better. But when you start understanding the quantum side of it and started getting into the your higher self, when you break that paradigm of good and bad and you start looking at negative, positive aspects, that's when you gain access to the deeper parts of your mind. That's how you can start operating and move around as the ideal, what they want to see, but you're moving as you need to be. You put on a mask every single day. You put on a mask when you go to that job and you act like the best employee that they want. You suck your teeth and you swallow your pride and you get through it another week to get a paycheck. You going around your friends and it's the same shit every fucking week. My man did this. Oh, you got another boyfriend? Dang, man, you stay with a different girl every week. Da da da. The reason that you keep going around it, unconsciously going around it, is because you're trying to understand it. And when you start getting anxious and you start getting tired of it, it's just telling you to move forward. That's where we get stuck at. We get stuck in that moving forward part. We want to not finish. If I don't finish the last 3 lines of this book, I still have this book to read. If I don't finish the last couple chapters of this book, I still have this book to read. I still can use this book because I'm on top of this book because I mastered this book. I mastered this space. So since I mastered this space and I'm a master, I'm higher than this level. That's when you look at the Baphomet. The Baphomet, when you look at the body of the Baphomet, if you ever turn the Baphomet around, he's sitting on the earth. The Baphomet is simply sitting on top of the planet in which it understands. So you're simply sitting in a space where you understand it. That's similar to if you know yourself, if you know yourself and you know if somebody touched me, I'm gonna go off, and you know what would happen. What you got to understand is they're gonna beat you the way that they know how to beat you physically, but they'll tear their ass up mentally if you don't even do anything. I came back. Sorry about that. But yeah, the moment that you realize it isn't the fighting part that we need to be worried about. We're gonna fight the powers that be. We're gonna do this. We're gonna fight the powers that be. Where'd my lighter go? We're gonna fight the powers that be. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. That's a nice conversation in the physical realm. The main key is for us to gain the knowledge back to ourselves and start breaking the paradigm to burn all of it down. That's how you become compassionate. The way to look at both sides of that coin is when you're looking at these examples, they'll show you an example. She got 10 years. She got 10 years. Why she get 10 years? Base part of it was that she's white. Okay. See, man, that's that white privilege. That's that white supremacy. That's emotionalism kicking in. Just like if you go to your job, somebody gets something that they ain't supposed to get. That's why it seems like the wicked can have, like, if you look at Transformers, the one thing I learned from Transformers is the Decepticons always had the baddest weapons. Always. The Decepticons had the baddest weapons. They had that snake shit that was going in the ground, tearing some shit up. They have the best weapons. The ones that have the best weapons have a deeper understanding against you. G.I. Joe, yes. I still want the suit. When you look at this, that's that learning experience for you. That's that learning experience. They will beat you over and over and over again from their level. The ones that keep pulling you down or trying to pull you down in your life, they only can pull you down to their level because that's as high as they go and they understand. In your life, that's what these people do in your lives. In your life, you pull yourself down based on your level of understanding and your fear and your ego stopping you from taking yourself to your higher points. There's so many things that happen in our lives on a day-to-day basis that are simply learning experiences. We have to learn how to look at things as scientists, looking at both sides. We have to look at a tragedy such as the most recent one, the 10 years to this white person, to this white lady. Somebody yell out cave beast and all these things. That's a part of their script. This is what you get for operating in their world. If I get a roommate and my roommate likes to party, or let's flip it around. If I need a place to stay and I have a roommate that likes to party all the time because he let me crash there a billion times at his house and he likes to party, and I've only been to certain months of the parties, and I go over there and he's having a party and I'm trying to get to work, I'm trying to get my life together, but all I can do is sit up all night and wait until everybody leaves out the living room because that's the couch I'm sleeping on. And I gotta, every single day in your life, the reason that this illusion continues is because you feel like you need to be connected to it. Until we understand not the chain itself, that's the first part. Unblocking the chain is the first part. That's the knowledge of unbreaking the chain. The applying is understanding how that chain was created in the first place. Similar to if you're going through a problem, let's say you have an addiction of some sort. The first thing you're told, which is actually, I really don't like these 12-step programs. They work for the people. If something works for you, it works for you. Pat on the back, all the happiness in the world. But where I'm coming from is understanding it in an entirety so I don't go back to it. Until we understand what's going on and what makes it go on, until we understand the distraction itself, the distraction that keep repeating itself, we'll keep being aware of it. Similar to like if I'm sitting there and I know I need to work out, but that Egg McMuffin at McDonald's is always hot, and I know I gotta go up this way, I gotta go up this damn road to get to the damn gym, but I can just go straight right there through the drive-thru at the McDonald's. Until we understand the why things are put together and how, not just the why, but how they're put together, it'll keep repeating itself. It'll keep being aware. You will keep being emotionally attached to it or emotionally distracted. Most of the time, that's even the basis. The smallest basic example of that is in a relationship that is toxic. I really can't find my lighter. That's really bothering me. Because, because the ancestors got me on some different shit right now looking around. cannot find my lighter. Anyway, whatever. But we're looking into this thought process into our minds and understanding ourselves and taking ourselves to our higher levels. You have to understand, and this is how you ask these questions, like, why was Trayvon Martin in that side of town in a hoodie with no way to defend himself? Why was she able to come into his house so easily? Why did he let her in if it was just an ex? That's about digging deeper into that knowledge. That's the example of how we move forward, is digging deeper into the knowledge of ourselves. That's the way we get in there. Until we understand the reasonings why they hate us in that aspect, that's a reflection of their hate towards us. Once again, is we don't understand ourselves. So it's reflected outside of us. We literally put an image outside of us. We've done it for so long. We've been programmed for so long that we create this image of outside of us, of something that's greater than us, not realizing that we're actually greater than it. And everyday purposing, you can be in a relationship for 2-3 months and it was toxic. But since the trauma in your mind of there was your mother and father were never together, or you were never shown unity of any sort, you will try to do it and survive even when it's detrimental to you even growing. You will try to survive in some space detrimental to your growth. And that's the space and the illusion that we're in. Because we don't understand anything outside of sustaining or growing or building something for ourselves. We're stuck in a space where we're trying to survive in that burning house. We're trying to take the little bit that they give us that seems to be good or okay and gracious, and in generalizing that for everything. Oh, everybody's good, everybody's great. But they still paint a picture of you, they still paint pictures of us all the time as how they accept us. They show you it every single day. They show you what's accepted and they show you what's not accepted. They just recently passed a law that made it legal for you to wear your hair as it naturally comes out of your head. That's more of that. See, all we got to do is protest a little bit and they'll change something. That's similar to that dude you with that every time he fuck up, he do right for a little bit, and then he goes back to doing the same shit. He doesn't learn how to hide it more. That's similar to that chick you keep talking to. Might be your baby mother or whatever she may be in that aspect. But she keep using your kids against you until you give her more money. In this realm is exploitation and addiction. Exploitation and addiction. That's what this realm is. It's a prison realm. Exploitation. You look at the prison system, they exploit them for fucking pennies on the dollar for free labor. And we're addicted. And then they're addicted to mundane physical shit. Even when you look at a movie, we look at the build in the beginning, we try to see all the characters that we like. That's my dude right there. That's Black Panther. And then we wait for the climax. So in our lives, we're taught two extremes, the beginning and the end. not understanding anything that's in between. So since we don't understand the stuff that's in between, that's how that lock can continue. You can break out of jail 1,000,001 fucking times. Chavo breaks out of jail was breaking out of jail every other month, it seemed. Because he understood the process of getting out of jail, mainly because it was a distraction. But when you look at the smallest note of that, see the music been cut off. I'm trying to shut the music off. See, if I was mad, I'd be upset. Like, man, music's cut off, but my PlayStation, because my battery died on this one. Because my battery died, so we've been talking for about an hour now. I like that. We're going to turn the system off, turn it back on. But yeah, as I'm talking about that, understanding the code of how to break out is the one part. That's the knowledge. Absorbing that knowledge is the one part. So you can have all the knowledge about a person on the planet. You have all the knowledge about a person on the planet. You can be upset with that person. You can be detrimentally mad at that person. But since that person provided something to you outside of every other measure, they provided something to you that made you feel whole or at peace in some sort of way, you keep going back to it because you've not learned how to sustain and build yourself. You don't have the confidence in your own mind. A lot of us don't have that ain't ginger. We don't have the confidence in our own minds. We don't have the confidence in our own selves. We don't have the confidence in the knowledge that we find for ourselves. That's when we find ourselves searching outward instead of searching inward. Our ego will have us searching outward for an answer that's actually within you. Because the answer that comes to you is ultimately a reflection of something that's within you. Everything goes back to within. So that person that comes in your life that seems to always, that narcissist or that toxic energy that comes into your life, what part of you is still toxic? What toxic traits do you carry? At a certain point in time, it's no longer something like someone be like, I'm petty. At a certain point in time, you're not petty, you're miserable. See how that works? That's that positive and negative aspects. As you're growing into yourself, certain things shouldn't even have your attention anymore. The biggest vex, I'm probably always going to say that the biggest vex to spiritual is material or the need for material. And that goes all the way up through the higher levels, because if you're continuously looking for a book, instead of tapping into yourself to go higher, you're always going to be looking for a book to prove something. It's good to have the bibliography and something to reference from. But just like this entire lecture, I don't write down my lectures because all the information is from the years of my study. And when I do have information, I will give you the bibliography. I got the 5 beta waves off of Google. Okay, I jotted down the quick notes. But I also have the book in my archives that goes to it. Because it's not about my ego or me saying that I'm smarter or I'm more intelligent. I don't care about none of that. Because that gives you, that's that superiority complex. So I'm more in my masculine side because I have the knowledge, but I'm not in the feminine side of nurturing and learning how to apply my knowledge. A lot of us get those, a lot of people get that confused, and that's the realm that we live in. They gave you that realm ever since you were little. Every time they gave you, the first thing you read in the Bible is that they tell you is Eve ate the apple, so she was condemning everything was bad. But if you go and understand and you start reading back into the text, a man cannot sit on the throne until he got the apple or the knowledge or the divine knowledge from the queen anyway. That's why they always say the son always has to be of royal blood, so he has to be born from a woman as of royalty. Then they twisted that, and this is how they twist. This is how things are twisted. We're sitting here bashing each other instead of understanding the aspects of everything that's to be learned. We will sit here and hate on something, not understanding the aspects of it. And that's where you get stuck in that gatekeep. Then you activate your gatekeeper. You won't go past. The reason that it keeps resonating, keep hitting you over your head is because that's the shit. That's the next gate you got to understand. But they keep hitting you with trauma like, oh my God, they keep giving all the gay people, they keep giving the LGBT so many different rights. Open one door, you got to open them all. So it's the caring part or the compassion part. The caring part of me, I don't care about it. So what? Your sexual preferences has nothing to do with me. Most of the time you do it behind closed doors anyway. I don't care. The compassion part of me or my heart coming from my heart is I understand that. But where does it stem from? Why is that being pushed? See, that's how you start going on both sides. Now you understand why it's being pushed so much. Because somewhere inside of you, it triggers something inside of you. It triggers anger. It triggers disgust based on knowledge that they know all the stuff that you have. They know more about us than us. The only things that they don't know is stuff that's locked inside of us that we don't know. That's what they're trying to get to. They're a reflection of you trying to get to yourself. So if I don't give you access to we went through 400 some odd years of not being able to learn how to read, not being able to write, not being able to do the things that would advance us. And every time that we were given a chance to be advancing in this realm, they spank us and remind you, you're a good nigger. That's no more. You can't be no more than a good nigger. You can't be no more than a good old boy. You can't be no more than an American. You can't be no more than that. You can't be no more than what we allow you to be. That's coming from that space. So then you wonder why in coming closer to you, closer to home, you wonder why your relationships happen the way that they happen. You wonder why you attract the people that you attract. It's everything outward looking in. It's the prism. So if I'm looking every day at TV at bad bitches and naked bitches and promiscuous and porn all fucking day on that aspect, me understanding the more I understand why it's there, so I can discern between looking at it and not looking at it. But on the aspect, I'm programming my subconscious to that's what I'm looking for. So if I don't understand that part, I'm not in alignment. If my mind and my body are in alignment, then how can I be spiritually in alignment to everything to synchronize? How can I synchronize myself? How can I synchronize myself, my own mindset, if my mind's not on the, how can I get into the spiritual side of myself, my clairvoyance, my clairambience, my psychic abilities, if I'm still stuck on, man, I need to get me some pussy. I'm concentrating on the climax instead of the knowledge that's in between. That comes into the discern of thought. That comes into the thought process of you actually thinking. We don't think, we react. We're not proactive, we're reactive. Something happens, we react, they laugh, then it goes on again. It gets quiet, it goes on again. But we never take that time of like, wait. Every time someone gets shot, we gonna have a fish fry, everything from a fish fry to a protest. Small stuff changes. They show us, and this is actually This was actually like the quickest court case ever because they gave that bitch 10 years. That should teach you, like, they're so arrogant. People are so arrogant in your life that you're not going to change, that they will repeat the same shit right in front of you and let you know that they're repeating the same shit right in front of you. People are so arrogant that you won't change, that they will repeat the same thing over and over again under different masks. That's because you're caring, because you're thinking about that person. You're thinking from the perspective of somebody outside of you when you should be thinking about the perspective of you. You value yourself, you love yourself, or are you lusting life? Are you lusting life and existing in it, or are you loving life and helping it grow? Love is about creating self-sufficient and being able to sustain for yourself. You cannot be truly in love until you love yourself anyway. So your wants, are you lusting for things? And yes, we all like nice things, but there's an aspect of understanding on how to achieve these things. If I give you $100, if I gave everybody watching right now $100, $1,000 a month, and said use it for clothes, and I didn't give y'all no end date, and then after about a year, I stop. Are you upset with me because I stopped giving you the $1,000 with no letting you know, or are you upset with yourself because you never learned how to sustain doing it for yourself? The mundane things should no longer have your attention at this point in time. The mundane shit, the small, like the climax shouldn't matter to you anymore in that aspect. Yes. That climax shouldn't matter anymore. It's the steps in getting to it. Remember, the destination is certain. Once you understand, you can read every book in the world. You can read every single text. Even when you look at Revelations, it all gives you the same exact outcome. It's going to end in fire. It's going to end like this. It's going to end. It's going to end. It's going to end. It tells you that. Okay, cool. But since you get stuck on that, if you get stuck on the death part, oh my God, I hope I get to go to heaven when I die. So you'll live in hell here. All because they said to me, as long as I'm acting really, really, really good, I can give. That's that punishment and reward. Even to this day, you think about punishments and reward. You're thinking about good and bad. You got to get out of that shit. That moralism shit, that's the shit we need to get out of. That humanity, that humane shit, get out of that. Get out of it to understand it. A dog knows how to be a dog, an ant knows how to be an ant inherently. The white man knows how to be a white man inherently. They know to be everything that they are. And this is on a general scope, because yes, you have a few, but it also goes into not everything white is white. Not everything black is black. Also, I'm not a crayon. We're not crayons. We're not human and we're not crayons. We're gods and goddesses. That's the first level. We're titans, chaos beings, engines of chaos, engines of destruction, generators, operators, and destroyers. That is the highest parts of us. We operate in this mundane realm and keep getting mundane shit and get mad when we don't get mundane shit. So we acting like spoiled little kids. We run around acting like spoiled children, mad because we didn't get what we wanted to get, because it didn't give us the result that we wanted to get. So, but yet we're damn near psychopaths because we keep repeating the same thing, despicting a different action. A psychopath is a person that knows something is immorally corrupt and yet keeps repeating it or keeps acting in the system of repetition to it. That's how you get the definition of insane. So if we were sitting here in the 60s and 70s protesting, and we got civil rights, and we sit here in 2019 protesting, and they give us some makeshift law, you're a fucking psycho. You're trying to sustain a light that's been burned out a long time ago. Just like in your life, you're trying to sustain the light in friendships that were dead a long time ago. As you go higher, everybody cannot come with you. Because your confidence level changes. The way you look at yourself changes. A year or 2, 3, I'll say 6 years ago, I love that I'm on a whole new wavelength because I see all these bright, shiny faces in here with me. These bright gods and goddesses becoming kings and queens. If anybody, people that knew me back then would have not seen me with my hair locked, wouldn't have seen me with a beard, wouldn't see me being vegan, wouldn't see me wearing nothing but gold. Actually, I was wearing silver at the time. But these aspects of yourself, if you are not growing, it shows in everything that you do physically. If you're not growing spiritually, it encapsulates in your mind mentally, and it shows physically. Unless you've mastered hiding in plain sight. You're going to be seen regardless. You're going to be seen regardless. Would you rather be seen and become a martyr or be invisible? For me, I have no fear of death. The mantra I did for that is, I'm immortal, I'm immortal, I'm immortal, I'm immortal, I'm immortal. I listen to a lot of Tech Nine because he says that in a lot of his songs. So I listen to certain music that linked to my thought process of reprogramming my mind. I listen to certain binaural beats to reprogram my mind. I listen to certain things to reprogram my mind because I understand that music is in tune to the universe, which means one song. So it encapsulates and it changes my entire wavelength. I understand the power of when I lock my hair, and encapsulates the power of the level that I'm at, and it becomes an antenna to all the power and to the energy and to all the focuses that I need to focus upon. But if you don't understand certain thoughts, if you don't understand these little small, you don't understand them small aspects to the path, you're gonna skip steps. A lot of us want to skip steps. Nothing else matters outside the steps. No one understands outside the steps. So, vanity, best friend to ego, and have you not want to go to that lecture? Vanity, have you not wanting to sit at the house and read because you're afraid you're going outside the door, you're missing something. When in reality, it's the same old song and dance. It's the same club. It's the same music, it's the same chicks with dusty ankles, same dudes with dusty elbows, wearing their nice gold-plated chains, wearing a outfit from Rainbow or City Trends, trying to impress other people that are broker than them or broke as them. The prison is your mind because you're trapped inside of it. The reason that it's a prison is because you're the warden and you're trying to tell yourself this is how it must be in order for me to survive. Your survival is detrimental. I can never say that enough. Your survival is detrimental to how you rise. You want to survive. I'm just trying to survive day to day in this world. If you're so busy thinking about survival, you don't have time to understand everything. If you're holding on to surviving, you have no time to grasp you have no time to grasp anything, to learn anything. Therefore, the same things continue happening in your life over and over and over again. You'll run into the same friends, or you might meet a new friend and end up being like the same friends from before, just on a different level, but they're in the same space. This path is a lonely path. It doesn't mean you're alone. It's a lonely path because it's only meant for you. Can't go any higher. Once you step in, the biggest thing about it, once you step into this world, ain't no stepping out. Because you will sit there and literally go insane. You'll sit there and literally go insane. Or you'll reach the angry conscious phase where you're angry at the world and you want to fight the white man. Or you'll reach that phase where you're saying, fuck niggas. Or you're going to reach that stage where you're like, I'm the supreme and I'm a god. And you're still trying to put women under you. And then you'll never graduate to the level that you need to get to because you're using it as ego boosters. I was looking at something earlier and somebody was talking about the biggest thing was about polygamy. And the key aspect to polygamy, or someone to say something about, man, I can do polygamy, man. I gave multiple chicks. But they don't understand the encompassing of what it takes or the basis of it. The basis of polygamy is if I'm the husband of multiple wives, each one of my wives have attributes and talents that are key and they're strong and they're in. That's their thing. So I can build a network with them. But the key to activating that is that I have to provide the space for them to make that network in. So half of these dudes out here talking about polygamy, similar to in the thought process, the people around you are reflections or remnants. The reflections or remnants. Everybody around me is a reflection of me in a key aspects. When it comes to learning, I don't know shit. So everybody around me, they don't know shit, but we're all open to knowledge. The people around you, the way that you burn down them fucking gates, they all should be in that same line. All in that same collective consciousness, in that same mindset. If they're not, the way y'all survived is detrimental to your rising. Some people are going through the things that they're going through, and then someone will say you might be disturbing somebody, you might be distracting or taking away from somebody's karma. It's a key aspect. Because if something happens to somebody in your life that's around you, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes you've been through it yourself or something in equivalence. So you feel their pain or you care about them enough to pat them on the back. But you don't have the compassion to tell them what they really need to know. You don't have the compassion to step away so they understand or they learn. It's all about the sustaining. We're so used to something being outward that we look for something that is matching us on that outward level. Something that'll help us further mask something that we're trying to get, that we don't want to deal with. That's the survival tactic, which is detrimental to you rising. Because everything that came in as you were rising as you came into awareness is all going to come out. All of those are your first learning points, such as your insecurities. Someone to sit here and someone can put a post up and be like, I don't like telling people shit because they use it against you later. I saw a post as of recent, someone put a post on Facebook. I don't tell a woman anything because they use it against you later. I watched the Vlad interview, and he was interviewing Boosie, and he had said his exact word. He was like, "Women ain't built for that type of life, dog. In the environment that I'm in, the environment that you're in is just that. You can't change. The only thing you can control is your reaction. So the only thing that you can control in these situations that are outside of you is how you react to it and what you do to understand it. A million and one people dying over and over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. In my mind, I'm at the point where it's normal. What month is it? Oh, it's around the time that they start doing it. Looking into the occult sciences, I'm like, is there a full moon coming? Is there a solar flare coming? What house are we in? That's how I look at things now. Like when you get into your highest, when you start looking on that level, you start looking at things, you be like, what is that? This always happens around this time, but why did it always happen around this time? And then that's when the conspiracy theories kick in, and then they have a lot of conspiracy theory to go through. Okay, like they did this because of this, and this, trying to hold you in fear, so they give you more fear and say you understand. Like, what was Prince? What deity did he embody? Little things like that. You start thinking because you start looking at the bizarre. That's when you actually gotta start looking into the mythos. A lot of the Greek myths, or actually the Phoenician myths, they just redid them. Hidden in plain sight. They use your science against you. They use the word occult, which simply means hidden culture or hidden knowledge. They use it against you, and they put a code on the front, and you won't go look at it. Because they tell you cult meant hidden evil, or it's about demons. I already told you what the definition of demons was. Once you understand the spell, you're able to manipulate it for yourself. Thus why I can put my YouTube channel together and I can write on front of it, God, occult, alchemist because I have a deeper understanding of what God means in my reality, generator, operator, destroyer. I'm the generator, the operator, and destroyer of the hidden in order to create out of nothing. Those that have that understanding can join along on the wavelength. Those who don't, let the dead lay with the dead. That goes deeper into the ones that are around you now. They may not be going to the next step. That creates that gap. That gap gets created. The only way that gap is filled is either they pull you back down with memories and remnants, or they start taking them breadcrumbs that you left. Do what you do for you and be confident in every move that you make, and understand that it is an example for the one that is coming up under you. Because all eyes are going to be on you regardless. So if you're sitting there and like, I'm not going to do this because this is going to happen, and we already know that's happened. That's how they wrote the Bible. That's how they wrote all the holy text anyway. They copy and pasted. But you understand the science. They can't take away your science. They can't take away your mind. Once you understand your power and how powerful you really are and your value, you ain't letting nobody take that shit away. That's the key. That's what confidence is. Actually, a mantra I want everybody to do. You can do it whenever you feel like you are down and something is not going to end up right. I want you to say confident. I want you to say Godfidence. I have ultimate Godfidence. Say it in your mind. Like, you can say it out loud and take it to the point to start that voice in your head starts saying, man, you're Godfidence. You got Godfidence. You got Godfidence. You got Godfidence. You got Godfidence. That way someone says, you don't believe in Jesus, you're a devil worshiper. The best way to combat a fool is to agree with them. The best way to combat a fool is to agree with them. That's how you become. That's the power of submitting to become the ideal so you can do what you do. If a person looks at you and says you are no good and you're not shit, you already did the mantra saying you're confident and can't nothing stop you and you know your power. Say you're right. I ain't shit. Because the reason that you're not shit is the negatives to why they're saying you're not the shit. The next time your ex calls you on the phone with a bunch of rah, 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 or 9-page text messages, like, you're right. Because it sets them in an influx that they can't combat with. See, you're coming from a higher level. Once you learn how to come from the higher level, they can't go there. And on the grand scheme of things, we are the only ones with the soul, or that's why the sun reflects to us and it gives us power. So anything that's against the sun or hates the sun or keeps trying to change everything around the sun is trying to destroy your soul. If it ain't speaking life into you, if it's not speaking life into you, It shouldn't exist. If it's not speaking truth in you, it shouldn't exist. Agree with it. Whatever. Kick it to the side. The more you do that, the higher tears you go into your stuff, the more you're able to sustain your own energy. Until you do that, you can't sustain your own energy and your own growth. That's the key to defeating the gatekeepers. You keep giving energy, whether you hate it or love it, you keep giving energy to these things in your life. And that's the reason that it can stay so dominant in your life. The reason that it can come up in your life over and over and over again is because you keep giving it your energy. I hate that shit over there, man. It's still gonna do it. That's similar to like when I remember when during that big thing when they were talking about with Jay and Baphomet and devil worship and all these things, and all he did was capitalize on wearing a shirt that says "Do It Thou Will" or sewing a goat head in the on to the next one video. I was like, that's brilliant. He agreed or adhered, didn't say shit, let them think what they wanted to think, and did his own moves. That's that key. Submitting to become their ideal so you move as you want to move. Defeating your gatekeeper, defeating your old self, breaking up with your old self is the first gate. Understanding the traumas that you went through, those are those first gates. All the insecurities, those are those gates. Based on something that happened to you in your past, keeps you from going into the future, keeps you from getting deeper. You can't get deep. You only can go, a person only can see the depth of you as deep as they see inside themselves. So since you're scared to go deep inside yourself, now you wonder why you keep attracting shallow people. Why the relationship that you was in always seems to be materialistic. Why you value the materials over everything else. I want you to love me for me. How can I love you for you if you don't know you? How can I understand your hate for me if I don't understand the real me? These are the keys to burning down the gates. Because once you, on a base level, understand it's just out of ignorance or lack of understanding, that catapults you right there. Yo, man, they don't understand me. That's why they don't like me. So that's why they put every aspect of thought process inside of me in stereotypes. Yet, since they don't understand me, they become me unknowingly or reflects in their life. Similar to, I remember when I was little and it was during the Black activist movement, and you will always see the Klan, and you would see all these hate speeches and everything. And then I'm looking now, as I was going to school, I was seeing the white kids was dressing blacker than the black kids. And then the black kids was dressing whiter than the white kids. They had adopted each other's because of lack of understanding. So you hate something so much that since you hate it and you have a lack of understanding to it, so you're not open to it, everything that comes around you will be a reflection of it. That's how it reflects into your everyday life. Something that you don't like or something that you don't love or you hate, it reflects to you in your everyday life through the same imageries. So I don't care how many times you sit here and say, I hate Jesus, fuck Jesus, and all this shit right here, until you understand that, guess what? The reason Jesus keeps reappearing is because you have a lack of understanding to it. Until you understand that the thing that's throwing you off about that entire book is everywhere you see Jesus, you should put your name because it's you. Then you understand it better. You understand the alchemical body. So now you put yourself, that's the quotient that goes into it, that makes it make believe. It takes it from make believe to literal. On that kind and that aspect, it takes it from an allegory to understanding the astrological and alchemical body of yourself. When you go into the dream realm, until you start working on the insecurities and your fears, you're going to start seeing those first. And then you'll be like, oh shit, that shit did scare the shit out of me. Why does that scare me? Why do I keep seeing this over and over and over again? Because it's your turn to understand it. That's all. It's about the encompassing of understanding. True value is not money. Money, the true prosperity and abundance should be the knowledge. I don't chase my dreams. I work on my passions, and it creates my dreams chase me. I don't chase after money. I work on my gifts and my talents, and now the money will chase me. I gain the knowledge, and everything else follows. We trying to gain the money and then trying to get the knowledge behind it. Similar to this process that I'm going through right now as a learning process of when I first started the God Thoughts platform, I didn't know it was going to be as it was. I had the thought process because I set my mind it's going to be like this. So every step that I had to take to was breaking another insecurity, as opposed to it was easy for me to write down my thoughts and post them because somebody would say something, a like or a click there. But then I knew eventually I had to put my voice. So I had to strengthen my voice. So the me a year ago wouldn't be able to sit here and comfortably speak and put together this content. Because a part of me would have been stuck in the paradigm, someone's going to plagiarize my shit. Someone's going to try to shut me down. Someone's going to try to do this, that, and the above. Because I'm thinking about the destination instead of the steps. If I take the adequate steps, I ain't got to worry about no one doing anything. Because I took the adequate steps from writing my stuff and transcribing it and actually getting the bibliography. So if I deliver the bibliography and where I got my information from, it becomes common knowledge because all the knowledge is common. All knowledge is one truth. All knowledge is infinite. Someone else can repeat everything. Someone can take this entire lecture and repeat everything I say word for word. And because on their platform, they have more followers, they just sound like the smartest person in their following group. And then they'll sit there. The other half, one half will be repeating everything that somebody says. The other half is bashing that person for not really knowing anything. That's the realm of ego. Ego will have you so stuck and locked into a position that you don't want to grow. You don't know how to stretch your wings. You don't know how to walk out of that cage. Ego will have you around the same friends saying no new friends, no new friends. And them friends around you are so detrimental to you even growing. Y'all don't talk about anything of growth or anything of actual evolution. And then you wonder why 5-8 years from now, y'all still all going to the same club over and over and over again. You're your gatekeeper. You're the gatekeeper in your life. Everything that you allow to reinforce what you already, what you're thinking at the level that you're at, locks you in the gate of not exploring and going further out. That's the sustainer of the reality, the illusion. You sustain the illusion by not trying to understand why I was there in the first place. It's one thing to break the chain. It's a whole other thing to understand the chain. Those are those pieces. If you haven't gotten past that point yet, to realize what you are to against yourself, that you're your own prisoner, you're the warden and the prisoner in your own space, nothing else is going to sync with you. It'll simply reverberate to you deep something inside of you and piques your interest, further telling you you need to let go of where the fuck you're holding on to. That's the key to burning down the gates. There's no oppressor oppressing you. There's no powers that be more powerful than you. In order for it to survive, it needs your attention. It needs your fear. It needs your ego to stay intact. It needs your humanity and your moralism for this realm to stay intact. That's the key to its survival. That friend that can never seem to get their life together needs your head nod that it's okay for them to keep fucking up because you're always going to have their back. At the end of the day, you have two decisions. You have the left-handed path and the right-handed path. Neither path is wrong, neither path is right. It's based on your set of reality and what you want to do. The ultimate goal is to become the ultimate example. The ultimate goal is to embrace what you are, not who they said you were. Be the best at it. Absorb all the knowledge from it. Become a unsustained, self-sufficient force of energy, because that's what you are. You are an ultimately the most powerful force to be seen. You don't need anybody to validate that for you because that's you. You don't need anybody to say what you are because it's you. You don't need to believe in magic because you are magic. You don't have to have someone tell you that you're beautiful because you're already beautiful. Once you know that, everything that needs to reinforce that will be reflected to you. The mind is all, and the universe is mental. The moment you start taking yourself seriously, everything else falls into place. The moment you start loving yourself and caring for yourself first, everything falls into place. It is not going to fall into place the way you think it is. It's not going to be all hunky-dory. Things are going to fall into place as they need to fall into place. So if you have that thought and you post it on your timeline on your Facebook, or you put a picture out on your Facebook, and then people don't like it, it's showing you exactly what you need to do next. People will show you what you need. People will show you what needs to be shown to you for you to know what to do next. For decades now, we've been shown we're in a burning house, and y'all complaining that it's hot. Walk out the house. build your own. And the concept of time, yeah, it's going to take about. Brad Pill said that the other day. He said that in that what's called the other day. It's going to take about the same amount of time that it took to do it. It's going to take that same amount of time to undo it. So when are you going to start? When are you going to start embracing yourself? When are you going to start actually loving yourself and not just lusting? When are you going to dive into your divine knowledge from this point that you're at? When are you going to sacrifice vanity and ego to the best offering to your God self? That's what it means by doing the offering. You sacrifice your blood, sweat, and tears for somebody else. You sacrifice your state of mind and your peace of mind for somebody else. And at the end of the day, what does that do? Until you come into that encompassing of yourself, none of the other stuff will work. You can read books on necromancy or any book that you want. But until you work on yourself, because in the beginning of all these books, that's how they start. It's centering yourself, putting yourself in a dark room, focusing on a spot, being able to focus onto a spot, being able to meditate. They all start that same exact way. So when are you going to do it in order to unlock it inside yourself? You don't need the spell book. You are the spell book. You don't need the talisman and the beads and the crystals. You are the energy of those crystals. Everything that you hold, you invoke your power into. That's why they try to give you money all the time, because you put your power into the money. That's why they show you bad bitches all the time, because now your eyes are on the bad bitches, so now your power is given to the bad bitches. Meanwhile, the queens starve. You want the flashiest nigga in the room. That's why the king starves. That's where that toxicity comes from. And then when you finally meet somebody that's on a level that's stimulating something other than what's in between your legs, you don't know how to act. You come to the gate, you have the password. You got the key. I only speak to gods and goddesses and anything higher, and what's one is trying to come to that. That's how you need to move in life. Allow the dead to lay with the dead. Allow the scenery to be scenery. Learn from it all. Project down. Rise to your higher self by becoming the ideal of what they need to see. Become the best example you can be. At this time, if this is your first time watching one of my lectures, around this time, as I do the closing, we open the room for questions. So any thoughts, comments, things you want to expound upon, every question is actually an answer. Every question is actually an answer. Everything can be explained as simply as it's asked. So while I'm Now I'm about to answer these messages that are coming in over here. If you have a question, go ahead and put it up there. And we'll have a nice little build. Because that's the only way that we're going to rise into the better is by actually building. As you can see, if you've heard it, my phone's been going off the entire time. So any questions y'all want to ask? Comments? This is how we get better. Mm-hmm. Someone asked me a question on here. I want to ask my answer for them. Going to the question list. I want to say a question. Someone sent me a question. Someone asked me, oh no, someone just asked me a love question about why does someone. My thought about Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness to me, as I've done the expounded upon the knowledge of it, it's the way I broke it down through the chakra system. Your Christ consciousness is when your pineal gland, that's your pineal gland. That's when you, the Kundalini energy, which is the energy that stays at the base of the spine, as it rises, it goes through your chakra system. So someone actually asked me that question. I broke that down to them. Your Christ consciousness is reached. It's all alchemical. That's the way I broke it down. Like the way I break it down is like it's all alchemical. So it's your body. So as you're going through your root chakra, that's the underworld. Your sacral and your solar plexus, that's you coming out of the underworld. And then that's when they talk about Jesus meeting at the crossroads, which is your heart chakra. And that's when the devil offered him all the riches of the world, which was the root chakra. And when you understand more of the chakras, the root is linked to your genitalia, so that's like the lust and the physical part aspects. Your sacral is connected to survival, I want to say, and your solar is when you're actually getting into your soul, so the soul of yourself. So you offer your soul off when you get to your heart chakra. After you get to your heart chakra, this is when you're given two paths. That's that left-handed path, which is about that's about the caring for humanity, and then the right-handed path where you're going deeper into yourself. Neither path is wrong. You can take a lot from the left-handed path and apply it to and use it as you're going through to understand the right-handed path, and vice versa. Then you get into your throat chakra, which is when you actually start speaking and reverberating the truth. That's why they say the God is the word and the word is God. That goes into that aspect of that. And then you go into your third eye, which is that's when you're actually able to see and you're aware. That's when you're always seeing, whenever you see pictures, he's looking like this. He's always about, Brother Panic breaks that down. He's always about his father's business. And then you get into your crown chakra, or which is also considered the Christ consciousness. Our Christ consciousness, that's when you're at your higher self. That's when you're able to understand all of the parts of yourself, and you're able to navigate and project, you're able to project your energy into maintaining these spaces. So, and then you go deeper, your Christ consciousness is the crown, which is in your, that's your pineal gland. So that's where Christ dwells. He sits beside his Father. That's you sitting beside yourself. And then another good book to actually get into that, I can't remember no names, no books right now. And that's really, really getting to me. But Christ consciousness in a nutshell, it's so hard to explain in a nutshell. That's you at your highest self. You went through all the work, you've done your shadow work, you've done your due diligence, and now you're in your Christ consciousness. That is the highest point of your subconscious. Now navigating and controlling everything. Also, that's the breakdown, because that's where the Christ is. That's your pineal gland. Around it is the 12 cardinal nerves that can, like, for your brain, for all your thoughts, that control every part of your body. That's why, like, when you look at the 99 attributes of Allah, it's like arm, leg, God, body. Your pineal gland, once it's fully activated, that's your third eye, that's your inner ear, that's your inner thought, that's you to your higher self. Everything falls in alignment because you understand everything's within. People that take the Christ, when they gave us the Jesus story, they gave us, and they took away the esoteric. Esoteric is the study, one of the studies up within the esoteric science. They made everything historicalized. So it distorts us in that aspect, is we keep looking outward for it, for something to be better than us and give us confidence, rather than us looking within us for the confidence. Because that's why they say God does not dwell in temples that are made by man. That's where you get that aspect from when they say that. Your two temples, it's all within you. The Christ consciousness, that Christ energy that go into your higher self, that's all within you. That's one aspect in understanding the knowledge. When you go back into the Kemetic sciences, which is during our decline, that's when we started building the monument, so we had something to remember as we were going through, so it would resonate with us. Those same principles at the basis of the original basis, that goes from Set, and all them attributes are all linked out to Anubis. Yes, that is part of that. That's also a part of one of the first processes that you'll do when you a good book is The Sacred Tantra. Actually, let me look up the book right now. There's a lot of tantric books with semen retention. That's actually one of the beginning processes of harnessing your Christ energy and allowing it to go back to its higher self. What we've been taught is, since we only looking for the climax, and they always show you that's why in porn they always look for the climax. Even I remember when I was watching porn, when I would watch porn, I didn't watch the whole damn porno. I would automatically go all the way to you go to the money shot scene, because we were only thinking about the climax. Semen retention is giving yourself the ability to hold your seed, and there's a bunch of different methodologies, from pinching under the nuts to when you go to the bathroom and you pee, then you hold it for 10 seconds, then you release it again, then you release your piss stream, then you hold it again. You're building up your retention. So that way, when you actually go into the actual ritual, that's a good question. I've actually got a lot of questions on that, and I explained it in such small detail. But I actually might put the lecture together for that. But you're holding your energy so that your partner practices the same thing, because that's what, if you ever heard of Kegels, Tamron, Kegels is like when the woman, like, she constricts the muscles. And please, queens, chime in on this part so I don't mess up any part of this, because y'all know that even if we read all the dang books on it, we still don't understand the entire feeling of it to you guys. But basically, you take yourself into a sense, like you'll focus on, like another good practice for it besides doing that is you focus, like you take like a black dot and you take a white piece of paper. This is also in a Frank Rudolph book. You take a black dot, you put it on a piece of paper, and you stare at the dot. Or you look at a spot on the wall with a black dot, and you stare at it. And then as you stare at it, you concentrate on the dot, and then you move the dot to another blank surface. And this teaches your mind to hold things. You're teaching your mind to hold onto a thought, to hold onto an intention. So your intention is to take this black dot to another white space. And as you start doing this, you actually start taking this image, even though that image is still there, subconsciously your mind is seeing you move that dot. That also goes into the retention part, because as you learn to retain your semen, then that first part, you actually that's like the basis of all magic anyway. Like the basis of any ritual is learning how to hold the intention. So when you hold your semen, and then it takes practice, everything takes practice. And then let's say your partner's doing the same thing, you guys can focus on you can actually focus on the energy, because it's all your energy. In our physical form, sexual tantra, sex is sacred energy exchange. Tantra is the tantric part is the focus. Tantric is simply interpreted as extreme focus. So as you're able to focus that energy and like you perform the ritual, when you release and you're learning how to hold it, you're actually it creates the cosmic charge. That's where the cosmic charging comes from. When it goes back up and your Kundalini energy rises back to the pineal gland, and then it comes back down. So the best way to explain it is if you read any book that explains a female orgasm, the first time you do it, you will know you did it. The more you do it, the deeper the feeling is. Because the fun part about it is the spirit realm, when you're fully in the spirit realm, it has been linked and has been regarded to an everlasting orgasm. So imagine how you feel when you let your kids off, when you bust or you release. Take that feeling and magnify it by 10 times infinity. That's living spirit. That's the spirit world. That's why when you look at a lot of cartoons, you look at Dragon Ball Z, and they always talk about Lord Beerus and their gods, and they always like sweets. And you look at a lot of the mythos, and you always see that the gods they always had a bountiful, abundant amount of sweets and sugar. Is because it's that euphoric feeling of the sugar.
So it's like basically they go hand in hand, because once you learn how to focus on yourself in that aspect, and you start focusing on your own power, and it rises into your pineal gland, you come into your consciousness, and now you're awake. And when you come fully awake, now you're in that spirit realm, now that deeper understanding. But the only aspect to these two things, Christ consciousness and semen retention, the things that link to these two things, you have to balance your chakra system. They put it in a cartoon. If anybody saw the last Airbender movie, when he was sitting there with the old guy, I forgot his name, and he was telling me you have to let go of this, you have to let go of that, you have to let go of this. Because when you look at the chakra system, I actually have an excellent image of the chakra system now. I'm going to look at it real quick. When you look at the chakra system, those are the gates to getting to your Christ energy. These are the things that actually, that you, if you look at any text, esoteric text, it shows you how they went through that. Because your root chakra deals with survival and is blocked by fear. So your fear of not going to your highest, like that base of that fear, that's what makes you, as long as I get through it, as long as I get through it. So you're thinking about climaxing. Your sacral chakra, oh, that is your sacral chakra. Your sacral chakra deals with pleasure and is blocked by guilt. So something as simple as the same thought process of, I shouldn't be feeling good for doing this, or you feel guilty in studying the occult, or you feel guilty in actually studying the Tantra and getting more deep into your sexual energy and your sexual alchemy, they'll be blocked by that guilt. Your solar plexus deals with willpower. That's your soul, your will to do your best and be the best example that you want to be, and it's blocked by shame. A lot of us go through shame based on traumas that left us stunted. That's when you get to your heart chakra, which deals with love, and it's always blocked by grief. We're kept in a constant state of grief. We're kept in a constant state of grief, sorrow, sad. So we never really love anything or learn the true aspects of love, and allowing love to annihilate us in that aspect. There's a Bobby Hemmett does a lecture on that, love and metaphysics. I want to say, just type in Bobby Hemmett, love and metaphysics, and that'll come up. That's another good lecture to look into. Also looking at the book, any Tao book, any Tantra book, any book on the sacred human healing. These are some good books to start reading on. Now I'm actually remembering the books. I think her name is Queen. I'll look her name up in a bit. Your throat chakra deals with truth and is blocked by lies. That goes into everything that you've been shown is a depiction of their reality, which is a lie against yourself. So you don't speak up on it. So that goes into the retention. All of these things must be unlocked before you even can get to retaining any power, because you got to understand all the parts of your power structure. Then you get into your third eye, the pineal gland. It deals with insight, being able to see. Insight is the ability to think on the fly. It is blocked by the illusion. Every day we're given all these different illusions, and it blocks us from actually seeing things for what they really are. That's why I told everybody, when you're looking at this case or whatever case somebody died, you're look at it for what it is and not for what you want it to be. You're setting that tone into that illusion. They should do this and they should change the laws. You'll hear that over and over and over and over again. Doesn't even work. Your Christ consciousness deals with cosmic energy. That deals with your divine principle. That's why they told us that when you're born, you were born in sin. Nah, brother, I was born divine. Because so many of these things, these programs shut down your chakra system all the way down to living in hell. Heaven and hell is a state of mind. As you see these things, as your chakra system goes up, it's more heavenly. It's more heaven attributes, love, truth, insight, energy. The lower parts, willpower or free will, free will, false pride, pleasure. We just talked about what pleasure was, and survival. Most of us are in a survival mindset. So we're just hoping to get to some pleasure, something that pleasure us. So that's where that, once you start breaking these things, and all with cosmic energy, dealing with your higher self, is blocked by ego attachment. So for semen retention, once you get these in line, once you get those in order, then you're able to actually start doing the exercises, because the exercises actually go with that. The exercise, any exercise that you do, they're all co-inherent into one mastery, whether you're starting with meditation and then you're going deeper into semen retention, understanding that leads you to understanding your Christ consciousness. That's understanding your ultimate power is yourself. Understanding there's nothing outside of you that's going to save you, that's going to make you any better. Everything is going to come from inside. The more you start understanding everything comes from inside, the more you're able to focus your energy into retaining it, into raising your kundalini energy, which is the fire of your soul rising up, burning away everything. That's the revelation, that this fire is going to rise up so high that is going to burn everything that is no longer needed for you to be into your higher self. Everybody continuously is waiting for you've been going through the process but not finishing it. That's the revelation. The revelation is within yourself. That's why you look at when they say Jesus said Jesus is going to have that fight with the devil, and they say Jesus says, devil, get behind me. He's his shadow. They're one and the same. That gets deeper into the underworld. When you look at the underworld, heaven and hell are states of mind. Therefore, they're all in the same mind. You're your own God and you're your own devil. It's the energy that you carry. That's that energy. It's all energy. It's all encompassed into the energy into yourself. So when you learn how to retain this, you're learning how to maintain from the lower and rising it up to the higher. Similar to when you're going, that's why that chakra work is so important and that shadow work is so important. And questioning those things, because it helps you be able to understand in order to maintain the balance, to retain your semen, to bring it to your Christ consciousness. They're one and the same. All of it goes together. I hope I explained that. Every question is an answer. That's what that is all on. What was I about to say? That's why we're going to look up that book. Any other questions while I'm looking up this book? Or looking up this list of books? Ask me later. Oh, yeah. For a lot of books that in the future lectures that I will be putting out, a lot of the books are out of print, and I found out that they were out of print. If they are in print, spend the money on the book. You spend $200 on shoes, but you won't spend $200 on body, giving yourself higher knowledge. For the books that are out of print, there is a app, if I don't know if anybody knows about it, it's called Scribed. It has every PDF of every book that I've seen so far. Oh yeah, if anybody's ever been wondering where I'll be drinking during some of my lectures, I find some of the wildest stuff on my travels. When I went to the crystal store, there's an apple crate. It's like a all vegan. It's like a vegan store. Unfiltered Bruce Cost ginger ale made with fresh ginger and organic cane sugar. It's pure freaking ginger. This is also Cameron. This is also good for semen retention. Purifying your body makes it easier for your mind to actually link to the other parts of your body. The more trash you have inside of your body, the harder it is for you to retain anything. A good book for the practices. I just found the book. A good book for the practices is a book. One book is actually called The Alchemical Body, the Shahada Tradition of Medieval India. It's written by David Gordon White. It's an excellent book. It breaks down, no problem. It's an excellent book. It has an excellent breakdown. It actually breaks down, it's good if you're trying to understand the feminine aspects and the energies, and then you'll start understanding why they push condoms so much and all these other things. It's an excellent book. It's an excellent breakdown. I have another book on my book club. Psychiatry, the key to ESP, the key to secret ESP control by Frank Rudolph Young. Yes, he has a lot of books. I'm about to look up the other books real quick and get a book list. Give y'all a couple books to read. Go back. I actually read the whole book. It's actually a pretty cool book. This book breaks down everything from how to unlock the secret, how to find and seize the hold of the magic key. The magic key is yourself. It's your subconscious. Whenever you see, a lot of these books are in code. In order to break the code, you got to demystify it. So it says, one thing in this book is how to unlock your secret ESP, control firmly within you with psychiatry. How your conscious mind reacts to how your conscious mind receives the communication from the astral body. Your astral body is, the realms go from the spirit realm, which is our astral body, which is our actual body, to the thought realm, which is the mental, to the physical realm. Once you learn how to control your astral body and you project from your astral body, all your thoughts, similar to in ancient Egypt or Kemet, the reason that they threw away the brain is because they were showing us that the knowledge was useless. The true heart, the true mind is the heart. The true mind is the heart. When you go off of your feelings, you have to understand it's based off the knowledge that you have in your mind. So you can fear something and not do something, and you feel it not right in your heart, but are you being guided by your trauma, the trauma that led you to think that way? Or are you being guided by your intuition? That's another good note. Tension banishing power. There's a whole bunch of things. Just read. I love books. I love being able to read and gather knowledge and further into knowledge. Another good book to look at. And this is also about breaking away. I want everybody to start breaking away from that paradigm of I don't respect stuff that's written by white people. It's your stuff. They write it in books all the time. There's over 1 million books still in print right now. And they put them under science fiction theory or some sort. Read the book. The key aspect to it is unlocking you. Oh yeah, here are all the books. Here are all the books to similar to the Chemical Body. Tantric Kali, Shiva, the Winged God of Power and Ecstasy. For You, The Secret Power. That was the book I read. The Secret Power of Tantric Breathing. Breathe, Mind, and Consciousness. The Subtle Energy Body. The Lagoya. There's so many different books. And all these books have Hindu and they have Hindu on them. So you were like, that's not me. I can't read that book. It's your information. It's your knowledge. Is this that was a civilization that we created as we were coming down. What's another one? I read a book on similar to alchemical evocation, magic, the magic manual, Olympic magic, sigil magic basics, Goetic spell work. Look up a book called The 72 Goetias. I think it's still in print. I forgot the what's the name. The 72 Goetias. It gives you. It's a book of all of the deities, all the gods and all the deities, all 72 of them, which are 72 aspects. Inside your pineal gland are 72 more chakras. Similar to if you ever seen Men in Black. And remember, Orion had the little cat around his belt, the little bell with the galaxy inside of it. That was similar. That was symbolization of your pineal gland. And once you open your mind, Limitless. And that's what the movie Limitless was about. When he took that pill, he basically took a dot of melanin in it, took him further and further and farther. But since his body couldn't actually produce it to the level that it needed to be produced by, he ultimately had to stop taking it. Similar with that movie Lucy, how she became a robot. In reality, all these people can become as robots. Geotic Marcos, Evoke It of the of Hecate, so much chaos magic. All of these books are our sciences. All of these books are our sciences. The only reason stuff gonna start connecting when you start opening up your mind to the books. So many books on magic. Let me see what else I got on here. Another good book, The Way of the Superior Man. I think that book, The Way of the Superior Man, excellent book. It really actually breaks down how to turn your energy and is about embracing your sexual energy and taking that energy and invoking it. It's about taking that energy and invoking it and using it in other things. So it's okay to think our queens are beautiful. It's okay. It's okay to David Banner wrote that song. If you've not heard the God Box, please pick up the God Box and actually go to davidbanner.com and get the God Box. I got the box. It's on delivery. It's $70, but it's that whole album. He puts a song called Cleopatra Jones, and using that energy takes you to your next level. We get so stuck on the aspect. I did not want that. I don't even know what that was. We get so stuck on the aspect of shutting down some parts of us, the piety part, that we don't embrace our sexual energy. It's okay to have those thoughts. The aspect of having those thoughts is what you do with the energy. I can go to the grocery store. No, there's a store. There's a is there a store? No, yeah, there's a store. There's a store that I used to frequently go to. It's actually an Apple Crate store. There's a store that I actually go to. I frequently go to, and there's this woman behind the counter. She's a beautiful queen. In order to defeat the thought, I had to create this. You create the scenario inside your head. This is another thing. This is another methodology to learn how to retention of your energy. Create the scenario in your mind and defeat it. Set the thought process in your mind that you've already done it. That way, it takes away the. Now, what happens is it takes away the 11:11. It takes away the need to actually do it. Whatever happens in your life, defeat it. The best wars are won in the mind. Another good book, if you have not read that book, go get The Art of War. So many books, all these books are linked into your consciousness, unlocking your consciousness. But if you take it for what it is, you'll never know what it was. You take it for what it is, you never know what it was. And yes, I'm gonna put out another in-depth book list. I appreciate all the ones that have entered this realm with me, and we're on this path and we're on this journey and we're growing. I love the questions. I love questions because questions expound the mind and take that self to that next level. Uh, always research. Always research. Always research. Always read. I always end my lectures with always read. Always expand upon new information. Remember, take that methodology of anything that seems weird or out of line. Like I got a homeboy. I got a fellow guy that's on my Facebook page, and he's his niche is the dark side. So like he looks at like he takes the things like Lilith, and he takes the Baphomet, and he takes things like the original like Satan or the Joker, and he breaks down like he broke down Venom. Venom is actually melanin or carbon, and it's the primordial substance. And every time you saw Venom, Venom was always destroying some shit or biting somebody's head off. Like you look in the Venom movie, he was biting somebody's head off. That's the energy that you need to have in discerning breaking the morality. Once we break our reality in that, you break that aspect in reality with it, that's how you start getting deeper into yourself. Because if you're still stuck on good and bad and good and evil, you won't look at the dark things. When the dark things, they'll say black magic, based on common sense, like black magic, I'm black. Even when you look at the lowest end, even though we're not crayon colors, I'm black. It's magic. It has to have something to do with me. That's how you'll start thinking about things. Like, I'm going to go read that book. I'm going to read that book. Because it's hidden in plain sight. They've been using a occult. They've been using that word occult. And since we didn't understand what it meant, they've been hiding everything and just putting a occult on top of it. They'll put satanic on it. Satan translates to Saturn, the rings of Saturn. Thus, Saturn will be trapped he'll be trapped in the rings of fire forever and ever, for like 1,000 years. That's just simply talking about Saturn being encased in these rings. It's been over 1,000 years. Common sense. Nothing happened yet. Saturn, which translates into Set or Sut, black original substance. Bobby Hemmett does a whole breakdown on that. And then you start going back. We have to start looking for beginnings, middles, and ends. We got to start going back into origins of things. The moment you start going back into the origins of things is the minute that you actually start rising into yourself, because the knowledge starts flowing with the inside of you. I'm gonna leave it open for whatever other questions. If you do not, if you have a question or you think about something later, my Instagram is Rod Carlo Nijas. My Facebook page is Rod Carlo Nijas. You can email me. This is my first time being comfortable giving out my email address. My email address is set, S-E-T, Carlo, C-A-R-L-O, Nijas or Negus, Negus at gmail.com. Drop it in there. Drop an email in there with your questions on it, and we can do a positive build like that. You can look for my Facebook page for God Kings, Ankh, A-N. I never can spell Ankh when I need to spell Ankh right. God, for the letter 4, the number 4, God Kings, Ankh, Goddess Queens at WordPress.com. Look me up on Facebook on there, or you can look at my Facebook page, Rock Hollow Nijas. Send me a friend request. I'm letting you know now, I will look at your page. I do look at people's pages to make sure that they are not created accounts with like one page and like one picture, and they were created in like 2018. I do look at that type of stuff. But look me up on there. You got my email address. You can even leave me messages I look at the comments section all the time on all of my videos. So if you didn't get something off this video, look back at the other lectures and the other small videos that I've posted. Leave a message and we can build from there. Leave it open for a little bit longer as I sit here and look at a couple other questions and books. I'm actually looking at this book list. I might just start burning out a couple of the books. Oh, this is a portal. Hidden in plain sight, people put stuff around you. This is a portal. The music that was playing in the beginning was a binaural beat. It was a theta wave beat. It's on YouTube. Grab the beat. Grab yourself a blanket. Grab yourself a wall tapestry like this. The good thing for beginning meditation. You can sit there with your eyes open and focus on the dot in the middle. Close your eyes. Slowly close your eyes. Focus on it. Focus on it. And then you'll send yourself into this space. This is also good for any ritual work, starting off your ritual work. It's all about focus and concentration after you cleared your mind. There's the thing I wanted to read. I'm gonna close out with this. I got a couple impactful quotes I want to put out there into our mindset. As we're growing, couple quotes. One quote is, when you finally are ready to heal and create the biggest positive shift of your life, you will begin to see everyone as your teacher, especially those that trigger you. We got one more. Let others vibrate as they vibrate and want the best for them. Never mind how they're flowing to never mind how they're flowing to you. You concentrate on how you're flowing. Because one who is connected to the energy stream is more powerful, more influential than a million who are not. I love you all. We love us. Get another mighty ashe as we rise.